Nitai Gaura Chanda Gaura Hari Jai. Jaya Radha Nila Madhav Radha Nila Madhav Radhe. Jaya Radha Nila Madhav Radha Nila Madhav Radhe. Jaya Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Stotra His Divine Grace Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Stotra His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Srila Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Namachara Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Praise Lord Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Advaita Gadadhar Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopina Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Shri Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Mathura Vrindavan Ki Jai. Navadip Maya Kundam Ki Jai. Purushottam Kshetra Jagannath Vidam Ki Jai. Ganga Maya Ki Jai. Yamuna Maya Ki Jai. Bhakti Shiromani Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai. Prabhupada Transcendental Book and Prasad Distribution Ki Jai. Hare Krishna Dham Instant Ki Jai. Nitai Go Premanand. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari
Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada Jaya, Prabhupada Jaya, Prabhupada Jaya, Prabhupada. Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivracharya Astottara Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivracharya Astottara Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki. Iskcon BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki. Nitai Gaura Premanandi. The holy appearance day of Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaputale Srimati Tamal Krishna Goswamiti Namane Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaputale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shanyavati Paschatya Desatarine Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nascha Praeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Today is the appearance of when Lord Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita at the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And it's also an Ekadasi, Mokshada Ekadasi. It's a very auspicious and a glorious day. I will not speak on the appearance of Bhagavad Gita. We are going to do a Gita reading from 3 in the afternoon, and around 6 o'clock there's a class on Bhagavad Gita and the glories of Bhagavad Gita, something like that. So I will speak on the verse today, which is verses 38 and 39. I may even do 40 and 41. On the board is verse 39. So I'll read 38 first, then we can chant 39 together. Vittaishanam yagna danair grihaidara sutaishanam atmalokaishanam deva kalena visrijet buddha grame tyaktaishana sarve yayudira stapovanam. Translation: an intelligent person should learn to renounce his desire for wealth by performing sacrifices and acts of charity. He should learn to renounce his desire for wife and children by experiencing family life, and he should learn to renounce his desire for promotion to a higher planet in his next life, O saintly Vasudeva, by studying the effects of time. Self-controlled sages who have thus renounced their attachment to household life go to the forest to perform austerities. Text 39. Rinai Tribi Dvijaha Jataha Deva Rishi Pitrinam Prabho Yagna Adhyayana Putrai Tani Anistirya Pyajan Pated Vinaistribi Dvijo Jato Vinaistribi Dvijo Jato Deva Rishi Pitrinam Prabho Deva Rishi Pitrinam Prabho Yagnadhyayana Putraistani Yagnadhyayana Putraistani Anistiryat janpate Vinaistrividvijo jato Devarishi Pitrinam Prabho Yagnadhyayana Putraistani Anistiryat janpate Vinaistrividvijo jato Devarishi Pitrinam Prabho Yagnadhyayana Putraistani Anistiryate Janpate Vinaistrividvijo jato Devarishi Pitrinam Prabho Yagnadhyayana Putraistani Anistiryate Janpate Devarishi Pitrinam Prabho Yagnadhyayana Putraistani Anistiryate Janpate. Mataji. Vinaistrividvijo jato Devarishi Pitrinam Prabho Yagnadhyayana Putraistani Anistiryate Janpate Vinaistrividvijo jato Devarishi Pitrinam Prabho Yagnadhyayana Putraistani Anistiryate Janpate. Vinai with debts. Tribihi, three. Dvijaha, a member of the twice born classes. Jataha is born. Deva, to the demigods. Rishi, sages. Pitrinam, and forefathers. Prabhu, O Master. Vasudeva, Yagna, by sacrifice. Adhyayana, study of scripture. Putrai, and begetting children. Tani, these debts. Anistirya, not liquidating. Tyajan, leaving his body. Patet, he falls down. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Dear Prabhu, a member of the twice-born classes is born with three kinds of debts. Those owed to the demigods, to the sages, and to his forefathers. If he leaves his body without first liquidating these debts by performing sacrifice, studying the scriptures, and begetting children, he will fall down into a hellish condition. Please repeat. Dear Prabhu, a member of the twice-born classes is born with three kinds of debts: those owed to the demigods, to the sages, and to his forefathers. If he leaves his body without first liquidating these debts by performing sacrifice, studying the scriptures, and begetting children, he will fall down into a hellish condition. Purport. Concerning the special obligations of a Brahmana, the Shruti states, Jayamano vai Brahmana strivir rinavan jayate brahmacharyena rishibhyo yagnena devebhya prajaya pitribhyaha. Whenever Brahmana takes birth, three debts are born along with him. He can pay his debt to the sages by celibacy, his debt to the demigods by sacrifice, and his debt to his forefathers by begetting children. I'll read the next two verses and then we'll discuss a little. Tvam tu adya mukto dvabhyam vai rishi pitro mahamate yagnya devarnam unmuchya nirno sharano bhava. But you, O magnanimous soul, are already free from two of your debts, those to the sages and the forefathers. Now absolve yourself of your debt to the demigods by executing Vedic sacrifices, and in this way free yourself completely of debt and renounce all material shelter. Text 41. Vasudeva bhavanunam bhaktya paramaya harim jagatam ishwaram prarcha sayadvam putratam gataha. O Vasudeva, without doubt you must have previously worshipped Lord Hari, the master of all worlds. Both you and your wife must have perfectly worshipped him with supreme devotion, since he has accepted the role of your son. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti paraphrases the sage's mood as follows. We have answered you who questioned us in the manner of ordinary discourse in the same ordinary way. In truth, however, since you are the eternally liberated Father of the Supreme Lord, neither worldly customs nor the injunctions of scripture have any authority over you. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, the very name Vasudeva indicates that Vasudeva manifests brilliantly Divyati, the super excellent wealth, Vasu, of pure devotional service. In the 11th canto, Narada will again meet with Vasudeva and at that time remind him, Deva Rishi Bhutapta Nirnam Pitrinam Na Kinkaro Nayam Rini Charajan Sarvatmano Ya Sharanam Sharanyam Gato Mukundam Parihritya Kartam. O King, one who has given up all material duties and has taken full shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, who offers shelter to all, is not indebted to the demigods, great sages, ordinary living beings, relatives, friends, mankind, or even his forefathers who have passed away. Since all such classes of living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, one who has surrendered to the Lord's service has no need to serve such persons separately. Hamagyanatimirandasya jananjana shalakaya chakshuzan militam yena tasmai shri guruve namaha. Mukam karati vachulum pangum langete girim yatkipadamam vande shri gurum denataranam paramanandamadam shri chaitanya ishwaram shri Krishna chaitanya nityananda sahodito gadodaya pushpavanta chitra sando tamo nuta. So this few verses, they are all actually connected. If you had been following, you'd know that just as the sages praised Krishna in the beginning, and Krishna then allowed them to leave, Vasudeva had some questions. So he asked the sages, and so the sages then answered Vasudeva. But of course you can see, in answering Vasudeva, they are feeling a bit uneasy because Vasudeva is actually a very advanced person. They are actually trying to reach that level of his devotion, pure devotion. But when they are trying, here comes Vasudeva and acts like an ordinary person. So they are like, whoa, wait a minute. Why are you speaking like that? So one of the few things that we can understand from these discussions thus far is that, according to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, is that one cannot simply destroy one's karma without giving up one's material desires. We have tons of material desires. Then he gives this conclusion here as well. They give the conclusion that to come to the point of giving up material desires, one must actually worship Sri Krishna himself. It's not that you can worship Krishna and then indulge in material desires. So that's not what they are saying. They're saying we cannot actually get rid of our karma because we are oftentimes within this material world, we are bombarded by different kinds of desires, our own desires, our previous life's desires that often comes up, as Prana Prabhu was saying, the prarabdha karma, they will manifest, or aprarabdha karma that is about to manifest. So the desires of the living entities from many, many lifetimes has been developed in the form of seeds, bija. The intention, kuta, and all those manifest over a period of time. Just like when you plant a seed in a ground, tomorrow they won't sprout out. You have to water, and after a few weeks or sometimes even months later, the seeds may sprout. So similarly, in the cases of our karma, some of these karmas may not manifest immediately. But over a period of time, when the time is right, when we are at a certain position in our life, then this karma or the desire will manifest in one's heart. And sometimes we can wonder, why am I thinking of these things? Why does it suddenly appear in my heart? Why? We think. And unless we are practicing properly, these desires will overwhelm us. Based on that desire plus the actions of the three modes of material nature, we are overwhelmed. And then we land into these desires, and then we commit either a sinful act or we perform some pious activities based on that desires or karma, like that. So the sages are saying, you cannot destroy karma simply by giving up material desires. So sometimes you'll say, no, we'll stop. But the karma is still there. It is there from previous lives. So they say to be completely free from even the material desires and karma, one have to take to the worship of Sri Krishna. So that is very, very important. So they say desire to give up one's wealth, particularly here when they are saying you have already, what is that? You've liquidated your debts. What are these debts? The debts are to the demigods, to the sages, and to the forefathers. So to the demigods, one has to perform yajna, sacrifices. Just like in the third canto, Krishna says to the living entities, I'll give you this Vedic knowledge so that you can perform yajna to please the demigods, and in doing so, they will be pleased and they will give you the things needed for survival in this material world. Obviously, if we follow the Vedic culture properly, we at the same time get purified of those desires as well. So the sacrifice must be done to please the demigods, and to please the sages, one has to perform religiously. One should study the scriptures, and then of course finally to overcome the debts to the forefathers, one have to get children. To get children means a son or a daughter is known as putra or putri. So putra means he delivers them from the hellish planet, tra, to deliver. So that is the reason why we have children, so that the son or the daughter, they take up the process and they perform rituals so that the forefathers will not suffer the sinful reactions. Particularly today being Moksha Ekadasi, there was a very powerful king who was very much able to please his entire kingdom. Everyone there was learned, they would read the scriptures, and there was no disease. Ooh. And people were very happy. But one day the king had a terrible dream, and in the dream he saw his father, the previous king. And the king was like, oh, and he was looking very, very terrible. And he was suffering. And he's like the ghost of, what is that, Dickens' story, right? Of Christmas past. So, Christmas coming. So it's like, oh, my dear son, help me. I'm suffering. And he could see the father was really going through a difficult time, a lot of wounds in his face and great distress. So the king wakes up from the dream and says, what is this? I'm enjoying the kingdom, my followers, everyone is enjoying. I have great wealth, I have great ministers, I've got beautiful wife, wonderful children, but my father is suffering. So he began to feel very unhappy, remorseful, thinking, what can I do like that? So then he approached in those days in Vedic culture, they have their own priests, brahmanas, and so he inquired, I had this dream, what to do? How can I overcome all these things? How can I help my father who's suffering in hell? And why is he suffering in hell? He was a pious king himself. So they said, the Brahmana said, we know a lot of things, but this one we don't know. Say, but there is a Muni, a Parvata Muni, up in the Himalayas. Please approach him and he can explain, because he is three-kala gyan. That means he can see past, present and future. So you please approach him and he will give you the understanding of why this situation is like so. So you can see, according to level of advancement, performing yagyas, worshipping the Supreme Lord, reading the scripture, one also is given the opportunity to realize different things in the material world. One is also given the ability to see past, present and future like that. So the king, with his entourage, he went to the mountains and finally located Parvata Muni, and he approached his ashram. Saw a wonderful ashram. He saw the Muni sitting, so effulgent, so great, and surrounded by so many other sages, all chanting and offering prayers to the Supreme Lord like that. And then he sat with the other sages and waited. Of course, the Muni realized through his transcendental potency that the king was there, and he opened his eyes and said, welcome, my dear king, what can I do for you? Are you okay? Is your kingdom, are you governing your kingdom well? This is the etiquette they asked first about their welfare, and the king being the person taking care of the kingdom. They also want to know how he's ruling. So the king mentions everything is fine, I'm ruling okay, my denizens, citizens, they're all doing fine, but there is something I have to ask you. Then the sage closes his eyes and he keeps quiet for a while. And then the king waits for the sages. Then he opened his eyes and says, I know why you are here, that your father is suffering in hell. So you can see how powerful the sage is. And he says, the reason why your father is suffering is because in his previous life, in his manifested life, he once forced your mother and he raped your mother, even though she was not willing. And so because of that, and during that time, I think she was also in that period of time when the ladies are in a secure place. So he forced her and he raped her. So for that sin, your father is now suffering. So then the king says, what can I do? How do I help my father? So the sage said, yes, this is a great sin, a grave sin. So actually, the only way is if you observe this Ekadasi known as Mokshada Ekadasi, which is today. So he says, if you observe it very carefully, no drinking water, no eating anything, stay up all night, read the scripture, and then the next day, after feeding the brahmanas and giving them wealth, you kindly, give that merit, the thing that you did to your father, and he will be freed from his suffering. So then the king waited. So he had to wait for a few months. And then when the today appeared, he did the Ekadasi Vrat from morning, from dawn till the next day, sunrise. He observed complete fast, and then he gave whatever merits that he gained from observing to his father. Through yagna, they can transfer the merits. So as soon as that was done, his father ascended from hellish planet. And then as he was going, he's going to the heavenly planet. So the father looks at his son and says, all glories to my son. I bless you, my son, for freeing me. So he goes, and it is said, Jai Shri Shri Radha Nila Madhava ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Giridhari Giri Govardhan ki Jai, Shri Shri Nitai Chaitanya Chandra, Shri Shri Nitai Gaura Chandra ki Jai, Iskcon Guru Vrinda ki Jai. So it is said that when one observes this Mokshada Ekadasi properly, with the right intent of course, connecting and pleasing Krishna, one gets liberated. So in the same way, from the hellish planet, his father is liberated and he goes to the heavenly planets, and from there he performs devotional activities to go back to Godhead, like that. So that is the role of a son, putra, to free the parents or the ancestors, the forefathers from suffering in hellish planet. So in general, the burden is on the boys, but it doesn't mean the girls can't do it also. That's why they're known as putri also. So they can save their husbands, they can save their forefathers as well also. So that is one of the reasons why here the sages are saying there are three kind of deaths for the forefathers. One of them is that. And to the sages, because the sages are always worshipping, praying, doing yagnas, all for the pleasure of the denizens of the country, the world, the population and so on, for their welfare, by reading and studying the scripture, we please them, and the debt that we owe them is cleansed. Because ignorance is the cause of our sinful nature. And by reading scripture and following it, we will not commit sinful activities. And then the sages don't have to do so much hard work. Just like in the beginning of the Bhagavatam, right, in the Naimisharanya forest, the sages were thinking of doing 1,000 years of yagna to help the citizens of Kali Yuga, like all of us, so nonsense and fallen. So they were feeling compassion, and so they were doing that. So by studying the scriptures and so on, we will not do those kind of foolish activities. Just like having come to Krishna consciousness, we should take every means to come and perform devotional service. Not just simply, as Prabhupada says, lip service. Don't give lip service. Don't say, yes, I'm a devotee. But the attempt to go back to Godhead is not there. So that is wrong. That is absolutely wrong. We cannot always hide behind saying that, oh, I'm weak and so on. One should always inquire and find out how one can overcome one's shortcomings. It's so important. If you do not endeavor for that, then we are not really helping our forefathers, Srila Prabhupada, our spiritual masters and so on. So it is imperative that we take this process seriously, at least to some extent. If we cannot do it, then we come and do some service, Oftentimes, every time you hear the same excuses. When people, I remember one time one devotee, many years ago, when we asked the devotee, can you come and do some service? The devotee said, oh, I have a small child, I cannot. Then years later, when the child was going to school, we asked them, can you come? And oh, now middle school, there's so much activities. My child is, more busy, so I cannot really come and help you. Then after that, years later, the child went to university and graduated. We asked them, they just don't answer anymore. Yeah. So this is what happens, that when we don't really want to take the process seriously, but we want to find some reasons not to do it. Then don't take initiation. That is the bottom line. Then don't take initiation. If you cannot commit to it, something must be done. Or we say, oh, my spiritual master is so merciful. He said, just follow the 4 regulative principles and chant, so I don't have to do anything. I mean, probably the spiritual master knows what kind of person you are. So he or she who's guiding you have told you to, all right, just do the minimum, But the reality is, as Prabhupada says, to actually please our forefathers, particularly our preceptors, spiritual preceptors, we should do it properly so that they can give us the blessings. Actually, the blessings, Prabhupada say, is available. It's already given. It's just that you have to extend and take the benefits of those blessings. So the sages, you please them by studying the scriptures, and of course the one that they actually asked Vasudeva to do is to do sacrifices, because that's the last thing that he hasn't done, as they mention in the next verse, that now absolve yourself of the debt to the demigods. So they say, you please do that. How? By executing Vedic sacrifices. So the demigods become very pleased when we do demigod yagyas and so on. Now this is for personalities who are performing or following Vedic culture very strictly. It is not for all of us here. Here also it is said for those who are in the twice-born classes. Twice-born classes means you have been given the second initiation, Brahmanical initiation, and they belong to the Brahmana culture, the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas and the Vaishyas. But then in Kali Yuga, Kalo Shudra Shambhave, we are all very fallen, we are all low class actually. Yeah, so and that is one of the reasons why we are always complaining, full of distress, miserable. Shudras are always complaining and miserable. So and they always give some excuse here and there. So you can see the nature of the Kali Yuga, how all these people that we encounter are suffering. Also due to lack of knowledge, which is why, particularly in this month, Srila Prabhupada, and knowing so that today is the advent of Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada has asked the devotees to go out and distribute books for the whole month, and it's called Christmas Marathon, like that. But in reality, it's so auspicious to give these books. Yeah? So many of you are working, you can give your workers in your Karmi world a deluxe edition of Bhagavad Gita as a gift for Christmas. Tell them this is so that you can learn the value of life. We are not trying to convert you or change you, just that there are so many wonderful qualities outlined in the Bhagavad Gita that you can imbibe in your own culture and religious practices. You please try and read. Like that, I would like to help you, and this is the reason why I'm giving you a gift of love, because God is love, like that. So you can give them this Bhagavad Gita in this month, particularly. We need to actually ask people to get this book. Otherwise, what is the value of our purpose in this material world? If we cannot come to see Krishna, we cannot come to take darshan, and then have association, and then mix with devotees, take prasadam together, then it is a useless life. Such life is, as was stated, if there is no indication to take up the message of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then it is simply useless labor. One's life is shrama eva hi kevalam. So we should not have such thoughts. Having come so far, why wait, This Kali Yuga in the next 10,000 years is just going to simply get worse. It's just going to be so terrible. So all those plans that we have, it's simply useless plans if it's not connected with Krishna. When you come back, if you do come back 10,000 years later, that it is said that the people here are all like cannibalistic. They will be hunting other people. Particularly they will hunt, I was told when I first joined, that they will hunt devotees because devotees are vegetarians and they believe that the vegetarians' meat is sweeter. So I don't know how true that is. You got to ask the cannibals. So if you want to figure that out, you may be able to come back in 10,000 years. So the point Srila Prabhupada wanted us to do is, wrap up quickly and get out. He used to say that the material world is like the stool house or the toilet. If you use the toilet, you will come out immediately. You do not stay there. So Prabhupada said the gentleman uses a toilet and then he immediately gets out. So the material world is like that. It is a toilet place. Prabhupada says, don't stay here. So nowadays people take their cell phone, the books, because I think they like to be sitting in the toilet for a long time. So if that's our consciousness in this material world, then we should be very, very careful that we don't want to do that. So the sages are telling Vasudev here, your debts are all over. And primarily they are saying your debt is over. They are also indicating you are actually a very exalted person. You actually have no debts to anyone because you have performed with your wife so much austerity, not austerity. Your austerity was devotional austerity. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita in the 18th chapter, 3 things one cannot give. He says charity, sacrifice and penance. Right? So penance, austerity. One has to do, he says. You cannot give up. Charity, you must perform charity. All grihastas must perform charity. By performing charity, what will happen is this knowledge in your heart will develop that what is the use of earning so much money. So this is a self-realization. But hoarding tendency is there. The hoarding propensity is part of the problem in Kali Yuga. People tend to hoard so much, but they don't use it also. They are like dragons in the Lord of the Rings, where the dragons will hoard all the treasures, so much treasure and gold, but it cannot give it up. Not even a single penny, it will not give up. So when we hoard, we become like dragons. In the next life, you'll be like that, like one of those animals who will be hoarding and not giving up anything. So Krishna consciousness allows you to give up these attachments easily because our attachment is to the Supreme Lord and His devotees. And in developing such attachments, we develop the finer understanding of why we are in this material world. What is our relationship with Krishna? And that is what we want. Just like sometimes people say, why did the Lord create us like that? It's just like asking someone, why did you develop a television, right? Television set. What is it used for? It is used for watching some movies and stuff like that. That's about it. But you can't use a TV to take to the lawn and do and say why I can't mow the lawn with my TV, right? It's meaningless. So sometimes people say, why the Lord created us like that? Okay, think about it, use your logical sense, He created us for having a wonderful, beautiful relationship that is ever expanding joy. Anandam buddhi vardhanam. So by developing that consciousness, we are getting a higher taste, higher love, higher existence. But we are not interested in that. Rather, we just want to be stuck in this material world, and then we give all kinds of excuses. So nice. Oh, I don't want, because I feel disturbed if I go to the temple. I don't want to do this and that. Yes, the disturbance is good for you, because it awakens your silly consciousness that you are going to have a better life in this material world. No, by going there and seeing all these people causing problems, your consciousness should develop such that I want to get out of this material world. Yeah, I don't want to have material relationships that are temporary and are causing distress to me. Rather, one should think, I should develop and learn how to live with these devotees, because ultimately in the spiritual world we are going to have infinite number of relationships with Krishna as well as his devotees who are all trying to serve. How is it possible that in the spiritual world there's not a single problem? Even if there's a problem, it is for the joy of Krishna. So therefore it is not a problem. Right? Logically speaking. So it is like that. Forefathers, sages, and the demigods. These are the three things that are highlighted. Now, of course, in text 41, the sages ultimately say, actually, we are feeling funny because you are actually a Nitya Siddha. You are actually a liberated person. And here you are asking us this question, making us feel embarrassed, But then we understand why you're doing this. Because generally, devotees of Krishna or Nitya Siddhas of Krishna, they want to set good examples. What is that good example? That they follow the rules and regulations of the scriptures. They want to show others by doing that, their life has become meaningful and they are in a happy medium. So in the same way, Vasudeva wants to show to the rest of us, or rather he is under the yoga maya, so he's thinking he is an ordinary person, and therefore his activities that he does is seemingly normal, or for a ordinary person. But actually no, we should understand he is on a extraordinary platform. He is actually eternally liberated, and his position in the spiritual world is that he is the father of Krishna. At least in Dwaraka, he has taken the role of a father of Krishna. And Nanda Maharaj is the father of Krishna in Vrindavan, like that. So, when we read all these things about such exalted personalities and so on, we should also understand that, we, even though these personalities feel obligated to the sages, the demigods and the forefathers, what about us, right? So how much more we should feel obligated? Because we are so fallen in this age. So it is so difficult to actually fulfill all these requirements that is in the scripture, to give up these debts. But Srila Prabhupada said, one who takes up pure devotional service, he is automatically clearing all his debts. But how? By performing whatever Srila Prabhupada has told us. We follow nicely. We follow the sadhana properly. So Saturday, Sunday, the weekend is for many grihasthas who are working. They should try to come, because it is for their own benefits, for their own purification. It's for no other reason, and to make deeper connection with one another, with devotees, having good relationship and understanding, and to find out how can I improve my sadhana, how can I make myself a better devotee, how can I stop myself from committing sinful activities. I have attachment for this, I have attachment for that. How will my little child understand Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead? So many things, so many wonderful things can be exchanged and understood in the association of devotees, but yet you can see out of so many people in Houston, Texas, then you find how many people are sitting around here. Very few devotees who want to evolve to a higher consciousness. This is what we are doing. We are trying to evolve to a higher level of consciousness. Otherwise, we will always be stagnated in the petty quarrels, in the quarrelsome world of Kali Yuga. So open this mind, try to understand. All right? So thank you very much. I'll end here. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Questions, comments, corrections, Yes, otherwise we will stop. Ooh. Oh, Pranahari Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu, for class. So we heard the verse Devarshi Bhutapta Nirnam Pitrinam, and you also mentioned how what does it mean take that full shelter, that full surrender? You said by following whatever Srila Prabhupada wants us to do. And so my question is, if one is unable to do so because of one's conditioning, as you mentioned, we're very fallen in Kali Yuga, and so we want to follow everything Srila Prabhupada told us to do, and one might even try to do that, but due to conditioning, one is not at the proper standard, and therefore, in one sense, one's not fully surrendered, one has not fully taken shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda. So, in that sense, one does not qualify for that verse, the benediction that one is free from those debts, therefore
Yes.
one's still obligated.
So they have to do those things.
So I guess that's my question is,
Yeah, I understand. If you don't take up the process seriously, then all these debts are there. So many kinds of debts. How to fulfill? Because if you don't, then you will have to suffer the sinful reactions of not fulfilling all these debts. And then you have to find out what are all the yagnas I have to perform. Go to the Brahmana and say, look, I'm so fallen. Go to the temple president and say, I'm so fallen, I can't do all this process, what do you recommend? Or to the spiritual master that they are aspiring to, they should say, I am fallen, I can't do this, I can't follow this. But I'm attracted, but I still can't follow. So then they will give you some indication, some directions to do. And you take up, when you follow them, then you are under their protection. Understand? You are under their protection, their divine protection, because they are trying to lead you, they are trying to hold your hand and take you across the Vaitarani river. So we have to surrender, at least to some level we have to surrender. If you don't surrender to the devotees or to one or two instructions of devotees, then you are surrendering to your mind and the senses. And if you do that, then it becomes so difficult to cross over this cycle of birth, that old age and disease. One then have to continuously suffer until another chance comes. This chance is very difficult. Mostly we find people buy their houses and they stay inside like Brahmanda. And you read from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Brahmanda Brahmate Kona Bhagyavan Jiva Guru Krishna Prasade Bhakti Lata Bhaya Beach. That out of the mercy of a devotee, one gets to get connection with Krishna. It is not by chance. It is by the mercy of a devotee, and by the mercy of Krishna, one gets connected to a spiritual master, an authority who can guide you. So this must somehow be understood. If you cannot understand that, then Prabhupada once said to his disciple who said, I can't follow this, I can't do this. Prabhupada said, then you are very unfortunate. Yeah. So Bhagyavan Jiva means one has to take up this good fortune and become fortunate. And simply doing one or two things, even if you cannot follow many of the things, but serve that devotee, come and serve the devotee. Generally, what does a devotee say? Clean the pot, sweep the temple room, go out and see if you can give some books. Is this so difficult to do? By simply doing that, one gets the adhikar to follow the regulative principles and so on. And then the adhikar to then chant. Even Krishna in the 12th chapter, right? He says, one who wants to understand him, meditate on him. But if you can't do, then he says, do regulative principles. If you can't do, then he says, serve the devotees. And if you can't do, then meditate on my universal form or do some welfare activities like that, but connected to me like that. So all these are there in the scripture. We have to understand properly. On our own, we are not able to understand because our senses and mind dominate very strongly. So we have to sit in front of someone who has that adhikar, and then we can then imbibe from them. They can cut through our ignorance, but we cannot cut through on our own. So therefore it's imperative to at least come to that stage to know that I am suffering. What can I do? If you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, you know Sanatana Goswami goes to Mahaprabhu with a straw in his mouth and he says, people say I'm so learned, but actually I do not know who am I, what is my goal. He is actually very learned. Still, he showed us how we should approach a devotee to get the mercy of the devotees, To simply hide behind all this, I am fallen and so on, it's not good for us and it's not good for people who look up to us also like that. So I'm not sure if that is good enough, but for that, yeah, good enough. Any other comments, correction, questions? Yeah.
Hare Krishna, thank you. So today you mentioned about hoarding. There was one hotel heiress. She had a lot of money, and she ended up leaving it to her dog. That's a true story.
Hotel,
left it to her dog.
Oh.
A lot of money. And then you mentioned about this is a stool house. This world is a stool house.
Prabhupada said
that, yes. So one time Shobha Kishori fell off a stool and broke her tailbone. So I was thinking, she fell off a stool, but every day stool is falling out of us. We're falling off, stool is coming out of us every day like animal. Animal business. And you mentioned that the blessings are there. You have to extend your hand, right? And like the Lord's mercy is flowing, incessantly, but we have to want it. So one time in Garanga Hall, a long time ago, there was this guy. We had a big festival, and we just needed help serving. Somebody has to just do this with a spoon. Right? I said, "Can you help? What do you got to do? Serve?" He said, "No, I'm okay." So what causes somebody to misfortune? It's just all you got to do is with a spoon like this. It's so easy, but he didn't want to do it. So what is it? The karma? What is the reason why he won't?
There are many reasons. Too much associating too much with worldly-minded person and believing in material science. Attachment to the land of birth, all this makes one's false ego think that such service to others are beneath them, So it's actually gross ignorance. When you develop gross ignorance, you come to such conclusions, why I should serve. Rather, nowadays, parents are raising children to think that the whole world owes them something like that. So therefore, you find such understanding or misled people. They think that is the way they should be. They should be served, not they should serve someone. So these are some of the reasons I can think of on top of my head. Yeah.
How to invoke this kind of understanding, this service attitude in people? How do you invoke this in people?
You go out and Harinam, you give prasadam, then you give books, and you pray to the Lord to be kind to such personalities, that He blesses them to at least understand that they are connected to Him like that. Yeah, and hopefully by your prayers they will be able to understand. Yeah, on their own, nobody can go back to Godhead on their own. It is through the mercy of devotees. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. Kantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Pramanandi.
Radha Krishna Gunagao, Preme Dako, Chaitanya Nitai. Hari Hari Bo.